The sand keeps falling, no matter how many times you turn back the clock. 7 years after defeating the vizier and saving Azad from the sands of time, the prince believed that chapter of his life was finally closed. He was wrong. A monstrous, spectral creature known as the Dahaka begins hunting him across the desert, tearing through soldiers and ships alike, anything standing between it and its target. This isn't an ordinary enemy. The Dahaka is the guardian of fate itself, and in its eyes the prince has committed an unforgivable crime. By using the sands to undo his own death, he broke the natural order of time, and now this creature exists for one purpose only, to erase that mistake by erasing him. Cornered and desperate, the prince learns of a distant island where the Empress of Time once created the very hourglass responsible for all his suffering. His plan is simple, if reckless. Sail there, find the source, and destroy the sands before they're ever created. If the sands never exist, the Dahaka has no reason to hunt him, and the nightmare never happens at all. But the ship never reaches shore safely. The Dahaka catches up with him mid-voyage, the vessel is torn apart, and the prince washes up on the island alone, wounded and already being watched. The fortress ahead isn't empty. It's crawling with the Empress's soldiers, but something is deeply wrong with the place itself. Time is fractured here, overlapping, bleeding between past and present. As the prince pushes deeper, he starts glimpsing echoes of the island's history, walking through moments that happened years apart, sometimes existing all at once. Then he meets Kaileena, the Empress of Time. She isn't the monster he expected. She isn't some tyrant hoarding power for herself. She's trapped, just like he is, bound to this island by a destiny she never chose. She knows exactly why he's come, and she tells him something that changes everything. Killing her won't undo the sands or erase the timeline. It will only make things worse, possibly dooming the world to the very horror he's already lived through. He doesn't fully trust her. Why would he? Everyone on this island seems to have their own agenda, and the fortress keeps shifting beneath his feet, forcing him back and forth through ancient time portals. One moment he's fighting present-day soldiers, the next he's slipping into the past, watching the same halls in a different era, sometimes altering events that ripple forward into his own timeline. Along the way, he faces the Empress's corrupted guardians, brutal warriors twisted by the island's power, and even unsettling echoes of his own journey. Because time is broken here, the prince occasionally encounters remnants of himself, alternate outcomes, and near misses, a constant reminder that every choice branches into something else, and not every branch survives. Through relentless combat, brutal falls, and desperate leaps across crumbling towers, the prince slowly pieces together the truth about Kaileena. She was never meant to hold this power willingly. She was chosen, shaped, essentially created to be the vessel for the sands, a role forced on her long before she ever had a say. The parallel isn't subtle. Both of them are prisoners of decisions made by forces far greater than themselves. The Dahaka keeps closing in throughout the fortress, appearing whenever the prince tries to bend time to survive. Every escape feels temporary. Every victory feels borrowed. Meanwhile, the island's factions don't all want the same outcome. Some want Kaileena dead. Some want her power for themselves. Some believe destroying her is the only way to prevent the destruction the sands will eventually unleash on the world. The prince finds himself caught in the middle, no longer certain if he's the hero of this story or simply another piece being moved into place by fate. By the time he finally reaches Kaileena's inner sanctum, the weight of the decision becomes impossible to avoid. Take her life and risk unleashing a catastrophe far worse than anything he's already witnessed, or spare her, trust her, and search for another way to sever himself from the Dahaka's hunt, one that doesn't come with consequences he can never take back. The final battle isn't just physical. It's a battle against fate itself, against a creature built solely to enforce the timeline, and against the prince's own instinct to fix his mistakes through violence instead of understanding. What he chooses in that final confrontation with Kaileena, and how he ultimately deals with the Dahaka, doesn't just decide his own fate. It rewrites the very origin of the curse that started this nightmare in the first place. When the dust finally settles, the prince walks away, carrying something no version of himself has ever carried before. A choice that, for once, truly belongs to him.